प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON संस्थापकाचार्य Savior of the whole world जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is entitled Prayers by the Demigods to Lord Krishna in the Womb of Mother Devaki. Text number 39. Na te abhavasya isha bhavasya karanam न ते भवस्येष भवस्य कारणम् न ते भवस्येष भवस्य कारणम् विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। भवो निरोधः स्थितिः अपि अविद्यया। भवो निरोध स्थितिरप्यविद्यया। भवो निरोध स्थितिरप्यविद्यया। कृता यतः त्वयि अभय आश्रय आत्मनि। कृता यतस्त्वय्यभयाश्रयात्मनि। कृता यतस्त्वय्यभयाश्रयात्मनि। न ते भवस्येष भवस्य कारणम् विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। भवो निरोध स्थितिरप्यविद्यया। कृता यतस्त्वय्यभयाश्रयात्मनि। न ते भवस्येष भवस्य कारणम् विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। भवो निरोध स्थितिरप्यविद्यया। कृता यतस्त्वय्य भवस्येष भवस्य कारणम् विना विनोदम् बत तर्कयामहे। भवो निरोध स्थितिरप्यविद्यया। कृता यतस्त्वय्यभयाश्रयात्मनि। न not they of your lordship abhavasya, of whom there is no birth, death, or maintenance, as for an ordinary being. Isha, O Supreme Lord, bhavasya, of your appearance, your birth, karanam, the cause, vina, without, vinodam, the pastimes. Despite what is said, you are not forced to come to this world by any cause. But, however, tarkayamahe, we cannot argue, but must simply understand that these are your pastimes. Bhavaha, birth, nirodhaha, death, sthitihi, maintenance, api, also, avidyaya, by the external illusory energy, kritaha, done, yataha, because, tvayi, unto you, abhaya ashraya, O fearless shelter of all, atmani, of the ordinary living entity. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. O Supreme Lord, you are not an ordinary living entity appearing in this material world as a result of fruitive activities. Therefore, your appearance or birth in this world has no other cause than your pleasure potency. Similarly, the living entities who are part of you have no cause for miseries like birth, death, and old age, except when these living entities are conducted by your external energy. Please repeat this translation. O Supreme Lord, you're not an ordinary living entity appearing in this material world as a result of fruitive activities. Therefore, your appearance or birth in this world has no other cause than your pleasure potency. Similarly, the living entities who are part of you have no cause for miseries like birth, death, and old age, except when these living entities are conducted by your external energy. It's a long purport, so we'll discuss the purport directly in the class. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. This verse is yet another prayer offered by the Devatas headed by Brahma and Shiva to the Supreme Lord Krishna, who has uh, appeared. Appeared means he has entered the womb of Mother Devaki. So, in this prayer, one very confidential information about the Supreme Lord Krishna is being given by the Devatas. What are they telling? You are not an ordinary living entity appearing in this material world. That means Krishna's appearance or Krishna's personality is completely different from our taking birth or our personality. And what is the difference? The difference is we take birth in this material world as a result of our fruitive activities. That is not the case with Krishna. What is the meaning of fruitive activities? Karma. So anybody who takes birth in this material world has got a cause. And what is that cause? In the case of ordinary living entities, the cause is karma. Karma means two things: a desire for enjoying materially, and there is one more meaning of karma, karma phala. The reactions of our past activities. Two reasons. Sometimes people ask, why has Krishna created this material world which is filled with so much of miseries? The only answer is because you want to enjoy materially. You want to enjoy independently. Okay, I want to enjoy independently. I want to enjoy materially. Let him just give me material enjoyment and independent facility for enjoying. He's after all the Supreme Lord. He can do everything. He can do anything. That's what you tell. You devotees, you scriptures, you tell. But why misery? I never asked for misery. I don't want miseries. Why does he give me miseries? There is a second cause. First cause is your desire. Second cause is what they call karma phala. In Kannada, ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಶನಿಕಾಟ ಹಿಡಿದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. These are all people who speak with a lot of proper understanding. It's not a superstition or some kind of blind belief. It's a fact. What is the shanikata? Anebara. They say, no, in common language. Even a illiterate person also knows something called hanebara, something called shanikata. What is this? This is called karma phala. The resultant reactions of our own past activities, which we have performed with a desire to enjoy, with a desire to be independent enjoyers, with a desire to enjoy materially. So, miseries are because of our karma phala. And our very material existence itself is because of our desire to enjoy materially. So, clearly understand these two causes. Now, here it is clearly told Krishna is not taking birth because he has got a desire to enjoy in this world or he has any desire to enjoy materially. He is always in transcendental bliss and he only enjoys spiritually. He never wants to enjoy materially. Neither is any need for him to enjoy materially. Because the very nature of material enjoyment is always accompanied by misery. Always accompanied by misery. That's the very nature of material enjoyment. And these are all explained clearly in the Bhagavad Gita. Whereas spiritual enjoyment is always pure transcendental bliss. That's why many places in the Bhagavad Gita you'll find the nature of this material existence or material world is dvandva. There is no happiness without distress. There is no pleasure without pain. Everything about this material world is dvandva, duality, heat and cold, pleasure and pain. And the spiritual world, no dvandva, nirdvandva, spiritual existence. Then the demigods are also telling, therefore, if Lord is not forced to take birth like us, doesn't have any cause of karma or karma phala, then what is the reason he takes birth? Your appearance or birth in this world has no other cause than your pleasure potency. Only one reason. Krishna comes to this world out of his internal potency, his personal energy, spiritual energy, Atma Maya. The spiritual potency of Krishna, not the material energy, not the material potency. So we take birth under the material potency. Such birth or such a existence is characterized by birth, disease, old age, and death. Birth is not just birth alone. Birth comes with disease, old age, death, cyclically. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, dosha, anudarshanam. Dukkha and dosha. There is a defect of taking of this material existence. It is characterized by these four fundamental miseries. So these four fundamental miseries of the nature of dukkha, miseries, they are miseries. And dosha, it is a defect. It is a defect of material existence. And anudarshanam, it is not something that just happens once. It repeatedly keeps on happening cyclically. And nobody is exception to this. Whether somebody is taking birth in a very rich family or a poor family, as a devata, as a human being, as an animal, as a bird, as a whatever. From Brahma down to the lowest insignificant creature. Everyone who is in material existence due to karma and karma phala, due to fruitive activities, has to undergo the tribulations, the miseries of birth, disease, old age, and death. Now, one place in the Bhagavatam it is said, Brahma has no disease, no old age, no fear of that, and he never undergoes disease or old age like us. So, that means Brahma, in his position, by virtue of his taking birth as Brahma, he takes birth as Brahma, okay? And he has got a fantastic long lifespan as compared to any of us. He doesn't have to suffer any disease or any old age. But Brahma also has to die. Somebody may say, he has to die, but such a long lifespan. Brahma's lifespan compared to our lifespan is like 3 trillions of years and more. 3 trillion, I think 40 billion years. So somebody who lives so long, why does he even bother about death? It's going to come very, 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 very far away. No. Time in this material world is different from the absolute time of the spiritual world. What's the difference? In spiritual world, there is ever-present time. There is no past, there is no future in spiritual world. Here, the illusory energy creates a sense of time in us where we calculate always time as past, present, future. This time is changing, is pushing us. So this is again because of the dvandva, the duality of the nature of the material world. Just like today is 30th of June 2024. Now you say present day as 30th of June. But this present day is not always present. Yesterday you would have told tomorrow or future is 30th of June. Again, tomorrow, 1st of July, you're going to say yesterday was 30th of June. You see, the same 30th of June, how it is changing. It was future, it becomes present, and it becomes past. So, where is the real present tense or the present existence? There is no present existence at all. It is simply a feature of the illusion or illusory energy. This whole time concept in the material world is actually a feature of illusion. Whereas in the spiritual world, time is ever present. There is no past, there is no future. Because life is eternal. Life is eternal. Everything is permanent. So this important difference we should understand, we should realize. Everything about this material existence is different than spiritual existence. Everything is different. Actually, there is no common, nothing same. It appears like it is like spiritual existence. It appears like that. And that is also a feature of the illusory energy. Just like every person, especially when person is young and having good health, relatively speaking, and having the basic needs, and is kind of okay, happy, thinks I'm never going to die, or thinks that, oh, death is going to come. I don't have to worry about it now. Now I'm young. Death will come only when I become old. This one big illusion. Nobody actually knows when they're going to die. Nobody can even determine. Only one thing is certain, that I'm going to die. But when, I really don't know. I think I'm going to die after 70 years or 60 years, something like that, or 80 years, whatever. But I don't think I may die next moment. I don't think like that. And even if, let us say, I live till I'm, let's say, 80 years, but still that 80 years, how it passes by under the influence of the illusory energy, 80 years may pass by in just like one moment due to illusory effect, or 80 years may drag on as if it is like 10,000 years. That's also an effect of the time factor. Like when somebody's enjoying material enjoyment, then time seems to pass by very, 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 very quickly. You have experience, all of us have experience of this. Very quickly it passes by. And when somebody's suffering, then that time period of suffering seems to be dragging on and on and on and on and on and on. And the best experience of this, time is dragging or time is passing very quickly, is the dream experience. Dream experience. Every night we go to sleep, we go through one state of consciousness. We experience a state of consciousness. Swapna avastha. Swapna avastha is the dream state. We enter a dream world. We enter with our subtle body. The gross body is lying on the bed or wherever you're sleeping. Okay? And you forget your gross body. You forget your external world, the world of Jagrata Avastha, the world in which you are awake. You forget that. You enter another world, another state of existence called Swapna Avastha. That Swapna Avastha, you enter a subtle world which is actually only involving your mind, your intelligence, and your false ego. In that subtle world, you have a experience, a real experience, as real as the experience we are having in our Jagrata Avastha, whatever we experience. But depending on the specific details of what experience you go through, you may have that actual dream lasting for just 1 minute. At the most, how much it can last, a dream? Maximum it can last If you sleep for 6 hours or 7 hours, maximum it lasts for 7 hours. But even 7 hours, it doesn't really last, because in that duration of sleep, there are two states of existence for us. One is called Swapna Avastha, other is called Sushupti Avastha. Sushupti Avastha is a state of ignorance. State of ignorance is deep sleep. It's called deep sleep. It's like sometimes you have experienced, if you want to wake up somebody who's sleeping and has not woken up in the normal time, then mother or somebody else will say, please get up. It's time to get up. You're already been sleeping more than your normal time. Then you try to wake up the person just by calling, or just by, just making some sound, the person doesn't get up. Then the person is fast asleep, deep sleep. So you try to loudly call, or even go and shake the person. Then even when shaken, the person will say, ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, I'll get up. So what is that? That's exactly what is called as a deep sleep state. Deep sleep state is we are neither in the dream world, nor we are in the Jagrata, external awakened state. We are in a third state called deep sleep, where we are in a state of ignorance. Just like in the dream world, you forget your awakened world. In the awakened world, you forget your dream world. But there is a third state, we are forgetful of your dream world and your awakened world. You're simply lying there. You're sleeping, actually. What we say as sleeping, you're actually sleeping only in the third state of existence, where you're ignorant. And for a human being, there is a fourth state of existence. For animals, birds, all lower creatures, only three states of existence in their particular body. Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Sushupti Avastha. For human beings, there is a fourth state of existence called Turiya Avastha. Turiya means literally fourth state of existence. What is that fourth state of existence? Spiritual state of existence, Krishna conscious state of existence. And that is possible even now in this life for every person, even an ordinary human being. It's possible. How? By practice of Krishna consciousness. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Simply by eating prasadam. It is possible. Actually, when we chant, because Krishna appears on our tongue in the form of the holy name, we directly contact Krishna. Because this chanting, even though somebody may not do it with full attention, may do it mechanically after practicing chanting every day, certain fixed number of times. If you chant, very easily you chant. You don't necessarily give your full attention. You don't have to give your full attention. But any activity that we do means I do, I desire to do, or I am doing. I have a sense of I am the doer. Requires your attention, at least a little bit of your attention, your consciousness. Your conscious involvement is there. Because of that, you, as the spirit soul, not this external body or the mind or the intelligence or the false ego, you as the spirit soul, you are touching Krishna. You're coming in contact with Krishna. Even though however brief that contact is, it is very, very brief. Because your attention, first of all, is not fully there. Correct? And how much time does it take for you to tell Krishna or Hare, 2 syllables, Hare? It's very, very, very brief time. Compared to 24 hours in a day, how much time? Hooray. In fact, if you calculate an average speed of chanting, those who are practicing chanting, it takes about 4 seconds to say the full mantra, 16 words, 32 syllables. 32 syllables, 4 seconds. So one word, hare, 2 syllables, or Krishna, let us take Krishna. 2 syllables, if 32 syllables take 4 seconds, means it's just a fraction of a second, 2 syllables, Krishna. So that brief moment, you, the real spirit soul, are directly touching Krishna, directly coming in contact with Krishna. Because Krishna appears as a sound. What happens after that? It's over, finished. You came in brief contact. Suddenly you are in touch with Krishna. And because your consciousness is absorbed in something else, you're thinking of what to do next, or you're, lost in some other thought or something else, you're planning, you're not giving your full attention to chanting. So it is as if nothing has happened. Like if I ask you, you came in touch with Krishna when you said Krishna, how was the experience? What? I came in touch with Krishna? What? I don't have any experience of that. Nothing's extraordinary happened. I'm the same person. None of my problems are solved. No, no disappearance of miseries. That Krishna has come? I don't know. How did he come? He came in the form of Krishna, the sound. And that sound is not like ordinary sound. It is Krishna himself who has come, fully present on your tongue as the sound vibration, as his name. We read in the scriptures, we hear Krishna and his name are non-different. Krishna is present with all his spiritual energies in his holy name. Nija Sarva Shakti. But I never had any experience. For this, I can give you another example. That let us say you are watching a TV program, which is a very nice program, and you are fully absorbed in it. Somebody passes in between the TV and you in a small living room or something. Somebody, your own son or daughter or some family member passes by. And then you are fully absorbed. It is a momentary disturbance for you, that passing. You're so absorbed that is not a disturbance for you. Ayyo, yaro hodru. Magane ho that. But later on, and you are seeing or absorbing yourself in what you are seeing, actually, practically speaking, it is no disturbance at all. It is no break. Is it not? Just brief moment, somebody passes by. Very quickly. They don't want to disturb you. But behind you, there is no space. Behind the TV, there is no space. Typically, it happens, in small living room, right? You're sitting at the back against the wall. And opposite wall or TV. So somebody has to pass. They cannot avoid. They don't want to disturb you. But quickly they want to pass because something very urgent is required. Okay, they'll pass by. So quickly they'll pass by. You won't even notice somebody has passed. And then after the TV program is over, then some reason you want to call your son or daughter who passed by once, not once, twice, and opened the door and went out of the house. And before you start watching the program, your son or daughter was in the room studying, let us say. So after the TV program is over, say nowadays it's short programs, 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you call your son who was studying in the room. Not there. Hey, hello, dear. Elidio. Rama, Baro, Elidio. Rama is not there. Rama has gone out of home. Then after Rama comes back about on the phone, when he ಗೆಲ್ಲೋದ್ಯೋ ನೀನು ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದೆ. ಸೊ ನಂಗೆ ಹೇಳೋಬಾರ್ದ ನೀನು, ನಾನು ನೀನು ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋದೆ ರೂಮ್ ಒಳಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಏನೋ ಮರ್ತುಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ ಹೊರಡುವಾಗ. I went in front of your eyes twice, not once. You never noticed me? ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. Why? It is not as if the eyes have not registered. It's not as if you are blind. It is not as if there is no disturbance for your seeing. There is. But it is such a brief thing that you don't take notice of it at all. It's as if you're not taking notice of it at all. So same thing happens when you chant mechanically. Same thing happens. So therefore, you should chant with your full attention. And also, before we begin chanting, we don't have experience of what is this chanting. At least in this life, nobody has told us to chant. We were not chanting. But we begin chanting and we are told, chant nicely. This is very powerful mantra. All your problems will be solved. So we start chanting in good faith. But the difficulty is that chanting is in our usual way. When we do some activity, we don't give full attention. We are not used to that. We don't have to. For doing any material activity, you don't have to give full attention. Your attention energy is so powerful that with little attention you can do. Because as a human being, you have developed intelligence, which is not there in the case of animals and birds. And for them, whatever they do, because they don't have developed intelligence, they have to put in a conscious effort and they have to actually be involved in the activity almost fully, if not 100%, almost fully. Because there is a fear of the existence itself. That's why a bird, even when it's eating, it is looking here, there. Somebody may come and snatch away. Somebody may come and attack me. So therefore, it can't give its full attention. Otherwise, the activity itself involves giving the full attention. But in our case, because we have developed intelligence, more the intelligence, lesser the attention that is required for doing the activity. Is it not? So, relatively compared to animals and birds and all, you have to give a real small fraction. And if you repeatedly do something, even that little fraction reduces even more. Practically, no attention is required. You will keep on doing it. So, the same way we do chanting. Especially first time you take chanting, your attention will be probably the maximum that you have ever given in your life. And second time, not so much attention is required. I know how to chant. I know how to count. And I got more important things than chanting. That is worrying me. That is bothering me. So I have to think about that also while I'm chanting. The chanting doesn't require your full attention. So, to break this habit, to come out of this particular type of doing an activity, is the greatest challenge for every one of us. Because you cannot even begin to understand what is that is happening when your tongue is vibrating and you're telling Krishna. Actually, Krishna is appearing in your tongue. Actually, you're touching Krishna. It is just like a live electric wire is there. It may look like an ordinary wire, harmless. But because electricity is passing, which you cannot see, cannot make out simply. So you touch even for a brief moment, suddenly there is a shock, experience of a shock. Correct? Now that shock experience, even though very brief, it is totally different from your touching anything else, your experience of touch. The shock experience is probably the first time you had the shock experience. You don't even know what is the shock. And you would have touched without, let's say, a child touches a live wire. It doesn't know what is shock. It doesn't know the wire is live. It doesn't even have a concept of live wire. Our state is like that. When we say Krishna, we don't know who is Krishna, or we have forgotten Krishna. We don't know what is spiritual sound. Correct? With all this ignorance and all these facts, you can understand. Touching Krishna, you don't know what is touching Krishna, but you are touching. And definitely, a child touches a live wire. Anybody touches, they're going to get the shock. But child doesn't know, and it's, let's say it's a very mild shock. Will not even understand I got a shock. Not even understand got a shock. Similarly, for us, because we don't know what is that experience of touching Krishna, even if we actually had the experience, and we do have the experience, because Krishna is present, and that touch of the tongue, or the sense of vibrating, is different than any other sense of vibrating, any other ordinary sound. It is a different experience, but we don't take note of it. And as we keep on repeatedly doing, we become more and more mechanical, means less and less attention. So the first time you would have had the most, noticeable difference in chanting Krishna than vibrating any other sound, that you would have vibrated so many other sounds. You always vibrate for so many different material purposes, different material sounds. So, but Krishna, the first time you say, especially when intention of chanting Krishna's name, after having heard about it, some knowledge you have got, some understanding, but that experience is completely new to you, at least in this life. It's a new experience with knowledge, chanting. But your attention is, let's say, some little attention, because how much attention does it require to actually say Krishna or Hare Krishna? Not much. And your habit is not to give full attention to anything. Never given. For all your material activities, you're never given your full attention. So that experience is like a very, very mild shock of touching a live wire. Almost like you're touching only a dead wire only. Same thing. No difference. So in our experience or understanding, or our real consciousness, chanting Krishna is like chanting any other word, any other sound. It's the same thing. And it gets reinforced as you keep on repeatedly doing the same way, like you do all other activities. The characteristic of all other activities is if you do one activity repeatedly, you will do it mechanically. Mechanically means it doesn't require much of your attention at all. Kind of inattentively, you keep on doing. So the same way we get into a habit, which is our usual habit anyway, of doing anything repeatedly, material activity. Same way we will chant Hare Krishna. Mechanically we'll chant. Because our interest in chanting is not so much as our interest in doing something else, so many other material activities. If we have to chant, compulsorily we have to chant. We've been told to chant. It's good for you. Okay, I'll do it. Somehow finish it off quickly. As quickly as possible, finish it off. Then the attitude of chanting is how quickly I can finish off. And while even I'm chanting, when is it going to get over so that I can do something else I want to do? So where is your experience ever going to register in your conscious mind? What is this experience of coming in touch with the sound Krishna? Compare this with somebody who actually understands and has experienced also none of these material sounds, the contact of the tongue with that sound when you vibrate is anything special or anything different. It's all the same. All these material sounds are without any life. They are dead sounds. They're all dead sounds. It's like you taste. Everything will have some taste, which is actually edible. What's the difference between edible and non-edible? It's like you take a piece of anything that is eatable. It will have some taste, a combination of one or more of the six tastes. Okay. Now you take, let's say, one very clean piece of one iron small iron some piece, metal piece, and you put it on your tongue. What taste will you get? If it is clean and nicely shining, doesn't have any dirt, nothing, no taste. It doesn't have any taste, right? So it is non-edible, therefore no taste. Edible will have a taste. Some taste will be there. Similarly, sounds, material sounds are dead sounds. So there is no effect on your consciousness when you vibrate them. Any number of times, however you vibrate, even you vibrate with full attention, full consciousness, no effect at all. No different experience. The sound Krishna is live sound. Live sound. Live sound. Another example I can give to help you understand the difference between live sound and dead sound. Just like you receive a phone call from your son or daughter who's gone to America first time after completing being with the parents for entire span of whatever 12 plus 5, 17 years, completed 12th grade, completed engineering, and then son or daughter is going to America. Parents are going to feel separation. Oh, going away for 4 years or 2 years, whatever. So they're going to feel somehow they will send because the son or daughter wants to study there. Okay. Then after reaching, you'll tell, please call me after you reach, that you reach safely. So anxiously waiting for the call. And those days, early days, I'm talking, it was a very special event because the phone rings. You don't know who's calling, right? You're expecting that your son or daughter will call. Phone rings. The phone ring itself is, going to draw your attention so much, especially when you're expecting the call. And then it rings, immediately lift the call. And both the father and mother are anxiously waiting. The father hears first, he lifts the call. Immediately the mother will come running wherever she is, if she's in the vicinity of having heard that call, ring. Both will be anxiously. Mother will be looking at the father's face and father is answering the call. Doesn't have to say hello, nothing. The son or the daughter merely have to say something. Appa, Amma, something. Immediately, it's a live sound. What is the life in the sound? It's not merely some diaphragm which is vibrating, producing an effect of the sound that is being vibrated somewhere else. You're not actually hearing the actual vibration of their tongue which is producing the sound. You are hearing a replica of that through some technology. But the technology is so good. Last point. I'm conscious. It's 9 o'clock. The technology is so good that it is as if your son is or daughter in front of you and actually speaking. Technology is so good. Okay. So you hear that sound. For you, it is not some diaphragm that is vibrating. You're holding some telephone instrument and some signal is coming across through some channel. No. For you, it is his daughter or son who is actually speaking to you. Isn't it the experience? All of us experience that. See the difference between live sound and dead sound. Same thing, wrong call. It's actually a dead sound. Real person is speaking at the other end. It's like a dead call. There is no life in it. Now, this life or no life, what is the difference? Difference is in the relationship. Difference is in your interest, in your attention, in your involvement. Just like these marketing people keep calling nowadays, especially in the mobile phone. And then if you receive one call, you can say, no, I'm not interested. If you receive 10 calls, one after another, say it's simply nuisance. Like that, these ordinary material sounds, they have no life because you actually don't have interest in anything material because you're spirit soul. Whereas Krishna, he's not just spirit, he's a supreme spirit. And it's not just that Krishna has also got a relationship with you. Krishna has got a loving relationship with you. And what kind of love? Ocean of love. He's got ocean of love for you. So if that person calls, or that person comes in touch with you, that person appears on your tongue in the form of sound, it's like your daughter appears or son appears when the daughter calls on your tongue as the sound. In your ears is appearing as a sound when you're hearing attentively. So same thing. Live sound of a person who is the most loving person. got so much of love for you. And Krishna appearing is not like, somebody whom you like, whom you know, already has been in touch. No. Long lost, long forgotten, dearmost child. Parents have lost a child, somehow it got missed somewhere. And they're anxiously waiting for the child to be found, to come back home. So if the child somehow comes, how the parents will feel. So same way, for us, Krishna's experience is different when he comes on your tongue. But Krishna also knows you have lost and you have forgotten Krishna. Because very long time has passed. Very long time has passed. So Krishna's anxiety as the time passes is going to increase even more and more and more. When is this child of mine going to turn towards me? Going to take note of me? Going to come back to me? End all its suffering. Krishna has so much anxiety. And on the contrary, we don't know who is Krishna. Simply somebody is telling chant Hare Krishna. Somehow I began chanting. I'm thinking, when will this chanting get over? So, therefore, why I'm telling all this is that if we want to, we can end our material existence immediately. That's what is being said here. The living entities who are part of you have no cause for miseries like birth, death, disease, old age, except when the living entities are conducted by your external energy. As long as we remain in this material world and we are involved with material activities and we are fully absorbed in them, these miseries will never end. Anudarshanam. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Whereas you transfer yourself from material existence to spiritual existence. How do you do that? Simply by chanting Hare Krishna. Even though physically you may not transport yourself from this place to some spiritual world which is far, far away, through consciousness, you can shift your platform of material existence to the spiritual platform immediately. So what does it require to completely shift? It's not like one leg is in the material world, another leg you're trying to enter the spiritual world. No, not like that. It doesn't happen like that. You have to completely shift yourself from material world to spiritual world. Even if you're partially in spiritual world through your consciousness, the miseries of the material world will not leave you. Is it not? Just like experience, devotees, we are taken to Krishna consciousness, even full-time devotees. But as soon as I begin chanting Hare Krishna and begin doing devotional service all the time, immediately the body diseases or bodily problems don't stop. Correct? So sometimes devotees ask, why these diseases to bother me now? Earlier I was in material existence, now I'm not in material existence, I'm not in the material world. Through consciousness at least, you can be out of the material world. But I am not chanting with full consciousness. I'm not doing my service with full attention. So the portion of my consciousness which is still involved in material activities will be the cause of my suffering. That's what is said here. When the living entities are conducted by external energy, they have to suffer the miseries. And the essence of material existence is miseries. And only because of illusion we think Something which is miserable is actually enjoyable. So, to get out of this illusion, to transfer ourselves from matter to spirit, the ways, the easiest way, there are many ways. All spiritual practices are the ways of transferring yourself from matter to spirit, from material to spiritual. To get out of this material existence, all spiritual practices are meant for that, essentially. But of all of them, the easiest is the chanting of Hare Krishna. Because you simply have to give your full attention and vibrate your tongue and say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Even once you do this with full attention, you are out of this material world. Because you fully experience Krishna. That experience is so special that everything material cannot, nothing material can compare with it. All your misconceptions are gone because you live experience of what is it to be with Krishna, in touch with Krishna, to connect with Krishna. You will get a live experience. Especially those who first came in touch with Prabhupada and they were seeking a spiritual life and spiritual experience. And actually, Prabhupada was in a public park performing Hare Krishna Kirtan for 3 hours. So some of them, even now, those early devotees are there and they say the experience that they had. Somehow, Swamiji's chanting transported us to another world. There are many experiences. If some other time I'll narrate more of such memories that devotees say what happened. It's only because they were seeking some different experience than the ordinary material experiences. So they were not hearing, like they have heard music and singing many times earlier, but that is all material music and ordinary thing. This is something spiritual. It's factually spiritual, what Prabhupada is singing, Hare Krishna. And they were also looking for a different experience. And they became attracted to Prabhupada. They were telling, actually, Prabhupada's face had a very brilliant effulgence. Because they don't know what is this effulgence and all that. They somehow got attracted to Prabhupada. And they heard. Immediately after that, they want to follow Swamiji, go to, where is he staying? Who is the Swamiji? I had a wonderful experience. I want more of this. So they became the initial devotees and disciples. So we can all have that experience if you again primarily hear from Prabhupada. We hear from Prabhupada. And with this background understanding now that I've given you, when Prabhupada says Hare Krishna, Prabhupada is fully aware of Krishna, is fully conscious. And Prabhupada also wants to influence you with the same experience he is having. That's the reason Prabhupada is chanting. He's not chanting so that he gets an experience. He's always having the experience, always with Krishna through his consciousness. So he wants to give you the experience. So when you hear Prabhupada chanting, hear it very, very attentively, very nicely. You can experience, you can begin to experience. And do it a few times, many times. Then you also practice chanting with Prabhupada. Chanting with Prabhupada. And then chanting with Prabhupada, you get experienced and you experience something different than vibrating some ordinary sound. then even without chanting with Prabhupada, you independently chant, alone you chant, you can get that same experience. We'll stop here. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Announcements?